but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Ray. That is the Fans Forum, and all I'm going to say is, champion! He's champion! He's Yes, we can get carried away. It might only be the Select Cup, but this is what it's all about. Newcastle United taking part in the Select Cup this weekend. 2 great days of football, a chance for youngsters. Saw loads of videos of young'uns getting taken in by their parents for the first time. That's what it was all about. Some great crowds, some good atmospheres, good opportunity to see the new players playing, and great opportunity to see some of our old ones showing that they can still what it takes on St James's Park. So tonight, make no mistake about it, we are going to celebrate the fact that Newcastle United have had a good pre-season, and we'll look ahead, obviously, to the big match next weekend. So I've got a panel, as always. It's good evening to Lee, to Ian, to Darren, to Barry, to Spenny, to Kevin, and to Donald. And Lee, great to see you, mate. Listen, okay, it's a friendly. It's a friendly competition. Newcastle have played 2 European, opposition. It was a step in the right direction after playing Premier League opposition in the summer series in America. What did Newcastle gain from that tournament this weekend, other than a silver pot?
Do you know what, man? As we all know, football's about momentum, isn't it? At the end of the day, we've got to start somewhere. For them lads to experience, I know we're all kind of laughing about the kind of, the seriousness of the cup. But at the end of the day, mate, it's about creating that feel good. It's about showing us that we can do it. And it is a small step, but it's the first step. We're building things, and we're building things right. So, yeah, spot on. Absolutely spot on.
Ian, I know you've been at the games at the weekend, and you thoroughly enjoyed, your experience and your time there. I do want to make a point. I think I made it off air to a couple of the lads. Arsenal won the Charity Shield this weekend. I'm sure they'll be celebrating that. That's not really a domestic honour. It's a curtain raiser for the new season. But it's important to get off to winning ways, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's really important. What I learned today, especially, is that Darren likes 2 pints before the match very quickly. That's what I not one.
I don't do odd numbers.
Yeah. So no, we were sat right. I was just sat both games. I was right in front of you on it. So
good to see you.
You too, man. Had a quick swill. So no, the both games I've really enjoyed them. To be honest, completely different games. I thought we were comfortable. Probably more comfortable yesterday than today, but I did enjoy today. Primarily just seeing Harvey Barnes in the second half, because we were literally, me and my nephew were on the front row. You'll see us jumping up. I've just been watching back a couple of the highlights, and you can see us jumping up looking like a fat old excited man. which is not a great look, but that'll be getting clipped by my son 100%, I reckon. So no, really, really good. Harvey Barnes looked absolutely mint today. He was involved in everything he could be. I thought Murphy was excellent in the first half as well. I thought he's really sort of put himself forward again for me, playing right back, which Daz predicted beforehand. I've just thoroughly enjoyed both days, to be honest. And I think it's a good, like Lee said, it's a good platform for us to go into the new season on. And I wouldn't want to be Eddie Howe making decisions of who's playing against Villa, because Barnes has got to play for me, but who drops out?
Yeah, it's a tough decision, but that's what he gets paid to make, tough decisions. Yeah. I've just muted everyone's mics, lads, because we're getting a bit of feedback. I'm not sure who it was from, but don't forget to unmute when you come on. Darren, you're unmuted because you're next. But the tournament itself, you've been there, you've been for both days. What was your take on it? We know there was a few teething problems with the electric payment schemes at the ground, etc. People had to pay cash and not card, but forget about that. Let's just concentrate on the football. What was the football like for you? Where are Newcastle at going into the first game against Villa, do you think?
It just tells me we're ready to go for the start of the season. We're in a good place. The morale's quite high after the day. So yesterday was a good, it was controlled. The day was a bit iffy in stages. The cells went missing at one point, and that tells me we definitely need another centre half because they can't rely on them. Ian was there today. The ball got played. The defence, the cells were comfortable. And next thing you know, the attacker had a shot at goal. Like, it happened in the space of 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been a big game or a crucial game, and we could have conceded there. So, but it was a good performance. Harvey Barnes. Yesterday said our goal will start next Saturday, but now after seeing Harvey Barnes play the day, I kind of agree with Ian. He's kind of it's a heads or tails. Isn't it? Two players, Harvey Barnes or Anthony Gordon. So it's a hard call, but as you say, Steve, anyhow, gets paid the money to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, he does. Donald, good evening. This tournament's been beneficial for us. I think, as, you know, in a lot of ways, it's opened the gates to new supporters. It's given Newcastle an opportunity to play both 11s, if you like, and also blood a few youngsters who certainly grabbed the opportunity by both hands. So, yeah, all in all, a very good weekend, the Seller Cup.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and obviously. Going to today's game, I think Harvey Barnes has definitely, put himself forward for selection come next Saturday, and obviously Murphy I thought had a really good game, and Joe Linton I thought was immense today. I thought he was, he was the Joe Linton we all know, and that goal. I mean, if some big cartel player did that, they'd be raving on about it. But the skill that he showed leading up to that goal, I thought that was top draw for me. And the finish was, as good as you'll see all season. But yeah, I mean, pre-season or in the season, you got to win your football matches. And they've won both football matches. And, confidence is now high, and as the lads have said, morale will be up there now. So bring on Villa.
Bring on Villa, indeed. Kevin, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. And storm coming, mate. Yeah, we often hear that when we're hand over to you. So watch what you're doing out there. I don't want you getting blown away. I do want to say something, Kev, before we go on to the Seller Cup with you. Well done. You sent me a little video from your activity day the other day. I'll just share it with the lads. Dear me, who on earth was the kid who actually hit the target? Was that one of yours?
No, that was one of an ex-player of mine. He's like 12 years old. It was like a fun festival we done yesterday. So I was working, if you want to call it that, yesterday to have a little jamboree thing with music and food and all the rest of it. So it was just a kickstart of the season. So I was the first one up and I get dunked. So it was nice and cool. I'll just say that.
Good way to get yourself dropped, that, innit, Kev?
You what?
Said it's a good way to get yourself dropped, that.
Good thing of colder countries to be doing that indoors.
I know, right? It was great.
At least you'll have dried off quickly. Anyway, the Seller Cup, mate. It's I mean, you were our man on the scene at the Super Series in the USA, which was great. You give us a bit of an insight into what was going on out there. But this Seller Cup has been back home. It's been about the home crowd. Some I don't know what the exact attendance was today. 36,500 yesterday.
34, something like that.
34. So there you go. 70,000, Kev, over 2 days. To basically watch a couple of games, and obviously the ladies' team as well playing. So it's been well worth doing, Kev.
Oh, absolutely. The whole pre-season's been positive and unbeaten. If you look at it from start minute 1 to the 90th minute of the last game against Villarreal. So, and we over the course of this weekend, we've scored 6, conceded. Even the Lasses won 3-0. So that's a positive. We don't concede goals. Even they seem to pick up the trend of defending well. I didn't obviously say yesterday because I was working. So But today's game, I thought Villarreal caused us some problems, tactical problems, which was nice to see and give us some ways how we can derive going forward as a team. Like again, across the whole pre-season, it was just nice to see different players dropping in and out. I think that young Murphy at left centre-back, right centre-back, what he played yesterday, he looks like a really good player moving forward. Lewis Miley, Anderson, sort of European-based players versus going to the continent and buying just whoever becomes available. So that's really positive for the club and can buy into it a little bit easier. But on the whole, I think it's been a fabulous experience. For me as a fan living here, seeing those travelling from the UK, seeing those who travel from across the country over here and across the world, essentially. It was just brilliant to see, and it seemed like they're going to try and continue that moving forward, hopefully, with whatever they've got planned. But yeah, so for me, it's a great start. Like everybody said, it's a platform moving forward, building blocks, but we've already had those blocks laid in place. Now we're just adding on to those. So we'll see what happens against Villa. And like I think Ian said or Darren said, I wouldn't like Eddie Howe's job at this moment in time because I thought Harvey Barnes was not going into ASM, but way better value for money. He got me off my seat more. He was very direct, and plus he scored 2 goals. So then that's what we want. And so I think it's a great bit of business, even if it's a 60, 70-minute cameo, playing like he did. It bodes well for the future. And again, with Gordon, you could see the similarities between him and Gordon from the highlights I seen yesterday. The cutting in from the right on his right foot, looking the balls in behind, things like that. So it was, again, extremely positive. I just can't wait to see what Eddie Howe decides next Saturday, whenever it is, next Saturday or Sunday. Whoever he puts out, they're going to give everything and empty themselves. Joe Lint was on his hundreds, deep into the game. Bruno was standing on the halfway line blowing, and they couldn't, but they had to get up and keep moving and get through the game, which is, again, positive to see. So, yeah, let's bring on Villa and let's go and smash them at St James's.
Yeah, happy days, Spenny. You were at St James's Park on the Saturday for the Salah Cup. What was your take? Did you enjoy it, mate? I mean, I made the point already. It was great to see so many youngsters. I think Saturday night Twitter was full of people taking their kids to St James's Park for the first time. But what was your take on day one, Spenny?
Well, I had a hell of a game, because I didn't have any cash with us, so I just had my mates paying for everything.
No. Classic.
No, I was impressed with Gordon. I think Gordon's over Almiron on my side. I think it's between Gordon and Almiron, not the other side. I think Barnes has got his place himself. It will be difficult between both of them because Almiron's got his shouting boots on at the moment and he hasn't. So it's a bit on another ones. Isaac was good yesterday as well. I thought he was tremendous yesterday. Today, I watched the match today at home, and I noticed Bruno was mainly swapping with Joe, and Joe's sitting back when Bruno goes forward, like they used to do with Willick when Willick used to play. Like Joe used to go on the left and he used to come back. I've seen that's happening in the middle a bit more. So either one's taking turns, or is the ones going forward, the other one's dropping back. I noticed that in the game today. It's end of the day, it's all about fitness and. These games, it shows what players are ready for the season, and also it shows players that are weak. So we have to get other players in, like yourselves. It's just championship material for me. It always has been.
Okay, Barry, what was your take on this weekend's Salah Cup?
I think 2 absolutely great games. I think, like the lads have said, to go through. I mean, I was looking at where Villarreal finished last season. I think they were 5th in the Spanish league, and they had a really good season. They've got some decent players throughout the squad. So I think for us, this is potentially the type of team we could face in the Champions League. They're not all going to be the highest level. And I don't think we had a few problems defensively. I think we were shaky. The lads have already mentioned Lascelles. I think Dummett didn't look great at times. I think that is the thing they pointed out. I think the players that we're counting, probably not going to like the state, but Matt Ritchie, Dummett, Lascelles are a distance away from what you would class as the best 18 players in the squad. I think there's a gap. You can see it. I think Barnes was unbelievable. I totally agree with Spenny. I think Barnes and Miggy. I think Gordon's got something to prove now. Because I think the two of the Miggy's scoring for Toffees, right, left and centre, and Barnes shows exactly why he gets 10 to 13 goals a season, because he takes his chances. He doesn't prat about like ESM used to and run backwards and forwards. Disappointed with Longstaff. I thought Longstaff, if anybody needed to prove himself today, he's got that much competition now. And I didn't think he did. He didn't appear to do much. But again, Spenny's right. Joe Linton just looked absolutely class. I know one of the other guys said about he was the Joe Linton of all. He just got stuck in and clattered a few people and swung his arms about. But he's ready to go. I think Nick Pope made a couple of decent saves that I wasn't expecting him to have to against them, but he looks fit as well. So I think in the best will in the world, we could do with signing another couple of players. Whether or not it'll happen is another thing, because I think there is a couple of weak players in the squad, but it's whether we've got the time and the money to do it, I suppose.
I think Joe Linton, Barry, should be up front.
He certainly took his chance. I mean, that was a big difference from the Joe Linton of old. Completely but he seems to be like that when he hasn't got the stress of playing as a forward, when he gets the chance to get into that position. He seems to be more relaxed.
Bruce is right. He should have put him centre forward.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think Wilson amazed anybody. I think Isaac's got the centre forward shirt nailed down because he looked class in both games. I think just Isaac's well up there. But like you say, Steve, it's up to Eddie to pick the team, I suppose.
Yeah, it is. I want you to have a think about the question. Your starting 11. We'll ask that towards the end of the show. If you want to jot it down, feel free to do so. But I want to know what your starting 11 would be from next week. Lee, we'll come back to you. Livramento is, he's been on Tyneside. We're just literally waiting now for, the medical to be announced and for him to announce that, Newcastle to announce that he's a Newcastle player. If that was the last signing, would it have been a good window?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think any window was going to be productive for us because I think we know what we needed to do. I think, like Barry said, there's a massive gulf in kind of our, say, top 15, 18 players. So I think any window and any buys that Eddie has kind of overseen at the moment, they've all been positive. So I don't think any window would have been negative because we can only improve on kind of like them bottom five or 6 weak players. So yeah, no, I think it's been a good window. Like possibly a centre back. Like I would have hoped like a real big world-class centre back. But again, that's dreaming. We can't go out chucking it around willy-nilly. I reckon that will probably be next on the list.
Okay, yeah, Eddie's already said in his press conference, and prior to the Select Cup, that he obviously was being very coy on Livramento. I think we all knew the deal was more or less done, but he wouldn't confirm or deny. He did say he would like another 2 in before the close of the window, and when asked if a striker was something that he was looking at, he more or less said that the financial fair play restrictions were going to prevent him from recruiting in that particular area due to the cost of attacking players. So midfield, we know is fine. We know now it's going to be another defensive, if not another 2 defensive incoming. So if we don't get them for whatever reason, are you happy with the window, Ian?
Yeah. You can't not be happy with the window. Look who we've got in. We've got some excellent signings coming, quality players, and we've added pace, which is a main thing. I think we really needed to add some pace with Livramento. I wonder whether he's going to sort of shoe himself in if we don't sign a left back, whether he will take that place. I wouldn't want to see Trips move out of right back. Definitely not. I know that's the talk that's going around, but I think we'd lose more than we gain moving Trips. But yeah, I think that we need a left back who is a left back, a proper sort of attacking left back who can do everything and has pace, and we need a right-sided centre-back with pace as well. I think we do lack pace in the back. Well, we talked about this last week, didn't we? So we don't have to keep going over it. But that's like, add those 2 players in and, maybe in the next in the January window or next summer, another attacking option. And we've got a bloody good squad there. Like I'm excited for this season. I know me and Daz were talking before when he was buying us a pint, and we have got, now you look at the bench and you think we've got some options, major options. We're looking really healthy. But yeah, if you Dream World this summer window, someone to, I don't want to say replace Cher, because Cher's been amazing, but someone who can challenge Cher, who's got more pace, and a left back would be my dream. But if we get nobody, I'm buzzing with what we've done.
Darren, same question to you. Happy with the transfer window if we don't get anybody else in? I don't believe for 1 minute, by the way, that we're not going to get anybody else in. But would you be happy?
I would say yes, but on a realistic note, I think we need a centre-half is obvious, but I think we need a right attacking player. I'll stick with the left back, targeting Burn for another season, because I think that they can do the job this season. I know Ian was saying he thinks the left back, but I just think we need another right-sided attacker going forward. I don't just give Amron competition and Murphy competition. So I think 2 more centre-half and a right-sided attacker. Okay,
Dunno, what about you, mate? What's your thoughts on the transfer window? Are you happy with it? If that was it, would you be happy?
I mean, first of all, it's certainly an improvement of the transfer windows of the past few years, isn't it? Under the old
good point.
Yeah. So what we've got in is definitely better than what we've had in the past. But yeah, I mean, I would say it's been I mean, we brought some quality in. That's the key word here. And we've brought in players who improve our squad, because that's what it's all about. It's a squad game, and we've certainly got more options in depth now than we've had in the past. But another couple, defensive reinforcements would definitely help our cause, especially on the fact that we're going to be fighting on forefront. So another couple, but other than that, if there was nobody else to come in, I'd take what we got now.
Kev, the consensus of opinion seems to be defensive recruitment. I think we're all agreed on that's what it's going to be, and I think Ian's probably hit the nail on the head really with a potential replacement at some point for Fabian Cher, who we know has been struggling a little bit with niggling injuries, and is getting a little bit older and wiser, but also a little bit slower.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. But the thing for me from this transfer window, and it's still ongoing until whenever it is in September, we haven't stood still. We've continually moved. Again, Eddie Howe's come out and said it's a lot of people have come out and said it's the quality over quantity that we've really needed. But for me, yes, we need specifics, but at the same time, we need cover across the pitch, in all positions. Regardless if we need a left back, yes, agree. If we need right back, absolutely. Right centre half, great. But we need a centre forward. Maybe if Wilson goes down injured, we need a right sided player. So it's in a goalkeeper potentially. You just don't know. So I think we need cover still across the pitch. But again, that's going to take time. So in my opinion, Eddie Howe will earmark specifics now to what we need. But then further down into his tenure and other transfer windows, okay, where's my next port of call? Where do I go here? Then really target those areas and then build again, like we've always said for months, build 2 11s over time, over another 3 or 4 windows. And hopefully that'll be the case. But yeah, very happy if we didn't bring anybody else in. I'd be happy with what we got. And then, take stock with that until January and see where we are. And then we might have to go again.
Yeah. All right, Spenny, what's your views, mate, on the transfer window? Happy with it?
A bit like the skill report used to say, could be better. But I think we just want a centre-half myself. I know he's played twice now, free at the back, and I thought today they played a lot better, free at the back, with 2 wing-backs himself. in the formation they had. I would just go for a world class centre half to bring Botman on, play him on the left. You know what I mean? Them three with Trippier and that. I think Scar's a bit injury prone, so the only alternative would be the Burn goes in before Lascelles and them in the centre, and Tagger goes on the left. But after the Tagger, what have you got? You got Dummett. That's it, I think. So that's concerning for me. I think we should get him the centre back in.
Murphy looked good. Young lad Murphy looked good at left back, I thought.
Yeah, he did all right, but he's not like relied on at the moment, like he's
no,
the season or something like that. What else was I going to say there? That's about it, I think.
All right, Barry, your views on the transfer window? If it came to a close tomorrow, would you be happy with the business?
I think so. I think but I do think if we stick with what we've got, we're going to have to look in January, because I think, like the guys have said, somebody will pick up an injury, somebody will lose form. I think Murphy, the young kid, he's, from what I've read of him, he's more of a centre half than he is of a left back.
Yeah.
So there you've got that extra cover potentially there, because I'd rather have him than Lascelles. To be honest, I think he's only going to improve as time goes on. But I totally agree with Ian. I think a left back is where I would bring somebody in, and then you can move Burn if need be into the centre, and he would cover as the extra centre half, and then you would have Target and whoever we bring in at left back. But yeah, as the guys have said, Steve, I mean, if somebody said to me before the start of the transfer window, you're going to sign Harvey Barnes, you're going to sign Tonali, one of the best players to come out of Italy in donkey's years, and Livramento, I'd have been over the moon. And we've picked up some good young kids as well who aren't to be forgotten, that have slotted straight into the younger teams. So I think we've done tremendous business, considering we were struggling to get, as has been proven by the amount of names that have been linked with us, struggling to get people in. I think the ones we've brought in are absolute quality.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's been a good window so far, but I do believe Newcastle will bring in one, if not two more, as Eddie Howe hopes, and certainly think we'll have defensive recruitments. Okay, halfway through the show, time for the ads.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at skipsandbins.com or telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Big thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces handmade in Cumbria. You can order them from their website, mrvickys.co.uk, or by telephoning 01768 210 102. A big thanks also to New Workwear. You can find them at newworkwear.com. They're an agile and dedicated workwear provider. Welcome back as well to United Travel. They are a UK coaches firm, and they are based in the Northeast. They've got 2024 tours, and you can contact them on 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Email info@unitedgrouptravel.com, and they've got a website which is unitedgrouptravel.com. There's no strangers on their tours, just people you haven't met yet. Big thanks to them for their sponsorship. Big thanks as well to Media Arts, and they supply all the video technology. If you want to become a member and get a cup, a pen, a membership card, and a scarf, then get your smartphone and put it over this QR code. It will take you straight to the membership pack. It's a £25 one-off fee. You can also go to NUFC Matters website and search membership pack to book today. If you want to help the channel, then subscribe to it by hitting the subscribe button. Hit the thumb up under the video to like the video, and click share to share to your other social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. Don't forget, we help the food bank on this channel. If you want to do so virtually, go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk and make a donation today. The Alan Shearer raffle is back on. 150 tickets, £1 a ticket. Win a limited edition signed Alan Shearer ball. Enter today at nufcmatters.com.
Okay, another person who is pushing for a starting place is Matt Targett. We spoke about Elliot Anderson, and does he deserve a role in this first game against Aston Villa? But Matt Targett, Lee, has really started to to get his act together again. I mean, through no fault of his own, injury saw him out of the side. It saw Eddie Howe have to revert to playing Dan Burn left back. And Dan Burn, it has to be said, last season was a revelation. And, once he got himself set in that position, he just didn't let go. Matt Targett's got himself fit. I think we all need to remember what Matt Targett was like when he first came to the club. He came on loan. He impressed so much. We made it a permanent deal. And he was part of the Great Escape team that kept us up. So, he is a player that we can rely on. He's a steady Eddie. He's a lot different to Dan Burn in a lot of ways, but gives us something different. And his pre-season form has been as good as Elliot Anderson's has been in the midfield. So is Matt Targett, is he knocking on the door? Mitch on the Professionals on Sunday said he thinks he is, and he thinks he'll start him on against Villa. What's your take? Matt Targett, does he deserve this?
I was hoping he was going to come to this, mate. Yeah, I'm a big advocate of having a proper left back play left back, whether that's old school, whether it's whatever. Matt Targett was one of the biggest. When we signed Matt Targett, even on loan, I thought, he's by the by, he's going to be a 6 out of 10. But I tell you what, that lad completely changed my mind. And I think he was one of the shining lights. So I've been waiting for him to come back because I really want him back at left back. I know Dan Burn has been fantastic. Even now, even though he was amazing, I'm still not comfortable. I don't know why with Dan Burn playing left back, because I do think he will get found out. That's just my opinion. I think the lad's cracking. He's not young, Dan Burn, so I think he'll start Targett, and I hope he does as well. And obviously that's going to disappoint probably Dan Burn, but I'm happy with Matt Targett starting, and I hope he carries on where he left off.
Do you think it's just because he is like a good old fashioned left back that you prefer him, Lee? Do you think he's a steady Eddie, solid 7 out of 10 each week?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be an element to that with my thinking with us, because I think through the years he was kind of what we were crying out for. We'd have loved someone like Matt Targett. If we'd have had 11 Matt Targetts, I think over the last 10 years the majority of us would have been happy. So I think that's probably me looking into the past a little bit, but I do actually think the lad's got talent as well. And like you say, he does put a decent shift in. And I think that'll always resonate with people, including obviously Eddie Howe. I think that's what Eddie Howe fundamentals are. That's why we're getting rid of players like ASM, bringing in a Harvey Barnes. I think that's his mindset.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, Ian, what's your thoughts on Matt Targett?
If it was me making the choice, I'd play Targett. I think he's. I was saying to Daz before. For me, he's the sort of player that needs a run of games. He needs 4 or 5 games before he actually starts looking good. And he's obviously had this pre-season where he's been fit, or coming back to full fitness and everything, and he's had a few games and he's looked really good. And that's not taking anything away from Dan Burn. I thought Dan Burn was good today, and I thought he handled everything as he always does. He's defensively is sound, but he tries getting forward, and he can get forward, but he can't get up and down as quick as Targett can. I wouldn't say Targett's fast by any stretch of the imagination, but he isn't slow. You know what I mean? So for me, that's a position that we'd actually need someone who's got some real legs, like a left-sided Livramento, But yeah, I would go with Targett, but I don't think I've just got a feeling Eddie goes with the back five. That's tried and tested last season, but I might be wrong. And the one thing is, none of us have a clue what he's going to do here. You know what I mean? Yeah. One other thing I wanted to say as well, I didn't want to interrupt before, but I missed out on the previous question, was do you think that Eddie Howe is utilising players in the pre-season to show our deficiencies a little bit? The likes of Dummett and Lascelles. I know it's a bit of a risk to do that, but I actually thought Dummett and Lascelles were okay today, but they got found out, and they'll always get found out because they have a mistake in him, and Dummett's a good defender, but he's got no pace whatsoever. He turns like there's a Brugger Ferry, doesn't he? You know what I mean? And like he's and that's something I don't know what you lads think, but I think he might have just been sort of saying to the powers that be, yeah, these are the positions that we're lacking in. Everywhere else we look for me pretty well stocked. But anyway, that's just something.
I think it's a bit of both, and I think that could be a small part of it. But I don't think he's got to go with his begging bowl. I think they're doing business together, and I think Ashworth have tied up really well. But I think it's also putting some of these players in the shop window. Dummett obviously is going to stay for a year. He's been given a new contract, and really that's to do with Champions League and local grown players, etc. But yeah, maybe one or two of these will be put in the shop windows. We may well see one or two go out on loan. We might see one or two go out on permanent, but there'll be a bit of everything in there. But I'd hate to think that was the real reason, the whole reason, because it would mean that there will be a bit of an issue behind the scenes, and I don't think.
I think I'm just a cynical old fart, me, and I just something that popped in my head today. I thought like it might, it could be like you said, the shop window thing's a good thing,
Still a bit of Stockholm syndrome in there, maybe, because that's what that's what we would have thought under Ashley, isn't it? Definitely, 100%. All right, Darren, Matt Targett. What's your thoughts on him? Has he done enough in the pre-season to be troubling Eddie's thoughts?
I agree with Lee, and I kind of agree with Ian as well. I prefer good old-fashioned left back to play left back, because I think Targett's more better going forward, and Dan Burn, because I just think Targett knows where to go a little bit more better than Dan Burn. But I do think Eddie Howe will play Dan Burn next week. Me and Ian's always discussed the team, but it's only one place now was up for grabs for me and Ian, I think, after our conversation today. But I like Targett. You can't turn Barrow overnight. He hasn't had he got injured last season. That's why I'm happy to go with Dan Burn and Targett for the rest of the season. It'll take another two more win days to get the hardcore defence in, get rid of some players, and so I like Targett. I'm a big fan of Targett. He's direct, and he works. And he gives 110%, which you need on a field.
Okay, Donald, talk. Were you going to say something, Lee?
I was going to say, just thinking about it then, if you look at the age of our defenders there, what's Target, 27, 28?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan Burn, 31, Shah, 31, around them period,
they're all in their 30s. They're all in their 30s.
There's got to be, like you say, it's going to be 2 or 3 windows, and I'm damn sure that's the main focus, to get that age down, and some players in that are going to probably got the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years with us, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Donald, thoughts on Matt Targett?
Matt Targett, I mean, it's a case of horses for courses, proper left back. So, you want your proper tradesman in there. You don't get a joiner doing a plumber's job, do you? So, you want the right tradesman in there. But being Eddie Howe can be loyal, so he'll probably stick with Dan Burn. But obviously, Targett offers more in terms of, attacks up the flanks, and also on the, set piece duties as well, because he's another option on set. Dan Burn can't take a set piece. Targett can. So Targett for me should be definitely on that team sheet for Saturday, especially because obviously Villa are a very quick side, and so we need somebody to be able to combat that pace. And if Dan Burn gets turned, then it's sort of you do.
Yeah, I've got it. That's the point. Match pace with pace. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see who he opts for in left back. Okay, Kevin, you've seen the players at close hand, a bit closer than we have. You've seen them train. If you were picking the teammate, would you pick Targett next week against Villa?
I would, based on the fact I think he's better tactically than Dan Burn. I think Dan Burn gets lost in no man's land a lot of the time. Like we've all said, is he a centre half or is he a left back? He gets in that conundrum: do I tuck in too far? And agree with Don's point. And when he gets turned in behind, then he struggles for pace. But hey, look, Dan Burns, he runs through a brick wall for you in that position. Look, nothing against the lad, but unfortunately, I think he's just tactically lower than Target. I think Target's got a little bit more pace. Not much, but enough. I think he'll be able to get up and down more. Hence why we went down a lot of the right side last year, because Kieran Trippier can do that. I think he's probably delivery from deep or from a 18-yard box and in is probably going to be better than that. The quality of service, all the attacking side of it is going to be better. But yeah, it's a funny one. It's an interesting one, because we'll see with the team that I've been jotting down hand over fist here to see what I go with. But if he goes with Burn, he goes with Burn. But I just worry what I've seen from the Villa game over here, because I think Villa will play the low block and play on the counter attack, a very Spanish, very obviously Unai Emery style, and I think that'll outdo us. And it happened against Chelsea with the game I seen live. So teams that drop off, and they've seen it last year. Pace is a problem, and when you got 3 centre halves or 3 defenders essentially, or plus 30, but Sven Botman, who's not great with pace, but can read the game very well, but he needs help around him in that area. So again, regardless of Target's age, I would drop him in and just give him a run of games, because I felt sorry for him when he got his injury. Did nothing wrong. It's football. It happens. But the next lad steps up, and he's just got to bide his time. But I think his time's come.
Okay, Spenny, Matt Target.
Well, I'm going to be controversial here. I'm going to disagree with a whole lot of you. I'm not a Matt Target fan. I don't think he's good enough for our team. He loses the ball to him, which when he comes out the box, he tackles well, he keeps position well in the defence. But other than that, I don't like. I'm not a Matt Target fan. I'm not going to tell him he's in the team next week, for Saturday, because that means I'm giving me team away for later on.
This is why we missed Spenny on this show. Like, he tells it how it is. All right, Barry.
I'm over the moon, because I agree totally with Spenny. I'm not a huge Target fan. I understand what the guys are saying. Burn gets turned sometimes, but how many times did that happen when he had bloody ASM playing in front of him, and he got left? He got left for dead because of him wandering off and doing whatever. Burn's commitment is unbelievable, and I think what he lacks going forward, I think we're going to have in abundance anyway with the players who have signed from midfield and from up front. And I love the kid to bits. He's 200% commitment. He would do anything for you. I'm not saying Target's a bad player. Just my gut feeling is I would totally agree with Spenny. I would go with Dan Burn every time, unless we signed somebody who was way ahead of him, which had we signed somebody like Tierney, Kieran Tierney, I think, yes, he would have gotten in the team ahead of Burn, but I'm not that convinced by Target that he's that much better than him.
I've got to be honest, if I could sign 2 players, mate, it would be these 2 fine athletes where we're at.
You can't afford them.
Hey, is that a warm-up at the match?
No, that film called Twins.
That's what it is.
Oh, the right
Step Brothers.
It's like the management of Phoenix Knights and that, isn't it? No,
I think.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in. Okay, here we go then, lads. Lee, the unenviable task falls to you first to name us your starting 11 for next week. So if you were in the hot seat and Eddie Howe wasn't, what is your starting 11 for next week, mate?
Are we assuming that everyone's fit?
Yes.
I'm trying to get the disclaimers out of the way first. Don't want it coming back when we've been dicked 10-0. I don't want it coming back on me.
Oh boy, Eddie's not going to pick your team. Well, he might do, but
I know Eddie's watching. He's texted me already. He's asking me my team.
Hey Lee, don't worry. There's no money on this, mate.
Right, are you ready?
Go for it, pal.
Obviously, Nick Pope. Trippier right back. I'm going to go with 4-3-3, by the way.
All right.
Right, so we've got Pope, Trippier, Shah, Botman, Target.
Okay.
Look at Spenny's face. Disgusted. Disgusted in me. I'm sorry, Spen. All right. Tonali, Joey Linton, and Bruno.
Yeah.
Wilson centre forward, Barnes just off left, and I'd go Isaac just off the right of Wilson.
Oof. Right.
No,
Okay.
no.
Now that is.
Yeah.
I think that will be an unusual team. I might be completely wrong. Ian, over to you.
If there was money on it, Lee, you wouldn't be winning. I'd say the standard back five is what Eddie would choose, but I would play Target rather than Burn, as we just discussed.
Yeah.
Same midfield as Lee, Bruno, Tonali, and Big Joe. I think they're going to be. There's not many teams that'll outplay us in midfield with those three playing. And I would play. For me, Wilson wasn't at the races today, and Isak's a level above. You know, he creates and he scores, and he was amazing yesterday. So I'd play Isak up front. I would play Barnes on the left, and Darren's laughing out. We discussed this before, and the problem is I'm going to change my mind.
He's changed it.
He's going to go all the bell ends under the sun here, but no, I'm going Miggy. I think Miggy will get the call on the right, but I think it's. I wouldn't be surprised if Gordon played on the right, but I think Miggy will get it because Miggy's been scoring goals. All right.
Yeah. Go on, Daz.
I think the back five speak for itself. I think you will play down Burn, but I prefer Target. The midfield is the same as the other lads. Tonali, Joe Linton, and Bruno. Isak up front. Mickey on the right. Anthony Gordon on the left. And I'm sticking with my selection.
That's my selection as well. I think next weekend, I think he'll play Pope in goal. I think he'll play the standard back four. I think Byrne will get the nod at left back. I think he will play Tonali and Bruno and Joe in the midfield. I think he'll play Gordon on the left, Miggy on the right, and Isak up front. That's what I think he'll do. And I don't think he'll go past that. I really don't. Tonali's had a full pre-season. He's getting out close with Barnes as he hasn't had a full pre-season. And I think, I think Gordon deserves the opportunity. He's had a good Euros. He's come back, fit, and he's done everything he needs to. Needs to improve in front of goal after yesterday's exploits. He's going to get a chance, and if he doesn't take his chance, he's got Barnes breathing down his neck. That's a big problem for him. I think Target will count himself unlucky, but I think he's just got to. I think he'll find himself in that position where he's got no other option but to go with the standard back four. I think if you drop Burns for Burn just because Target's had a good pre-season, I just don't think that washes. If you're going to play all of that back four, you play all of that back four. I think that's the way it is. Don't know what's your starting lineup next week.
My starting lineup, I've gone obviously Pope in goal, which is he's a racing certainty there. Right hand side, right back, Kieran Trippier. My two central defenders, I've gone with Botman, and this is assuming Shaw's not fit. Burns going to play alongside him, and Target at left back. In the middle, Bruno, Joe Linton, and Tonali, because they've obviously, that midfield three, no other team's got anything like that. And my front three, I've gone with Miggy on the right, Isak through the middle, and Barnes on the other side, just because of what I've seen today, just based on, what I've seen today. So that's
okay. All right, Kevin?
Well, I'm going 4-3-3. Well, officially 1-4-3-3, if you coach in terms. Pope and goal, Trips at right back. Since I know and heard that Shaw had a scan here and he hasn't played since before halftime in the Atlanta game, I'm going to agree with Donald. I think he'll go with Botman on the right, Burn inside of the left of centre half, and he'll probably go Target left back. My midfield three is different. It's Bruno sitting with Joe Linton and Elliot Anderson on either side, because I think he's had a fabulous pre-season. I think he earns the right to continue that form into the season. And I think he'll bring Tonali in as he's done with like the Brunos of the world and stuff like that. Across the front, Miggy on the right, Isaac, and then Barnes.
Okay. Spenny.
Well, mine's Pope in goal, obviously. Chippy on the right. Byrne, Botman in the middle. Target. I was going to put Dummett, but I put Target on.
No Lascelles, no.
No Lascelles. No one Tulani and Joe in the middle. And I've gone Gordon, Isaac, and Barnes up front. Eddie's just texted the team, so I know exactly what the team is.
Jamal Lascelles has just deleted you off his Instagram.
Yeah, I deleted him about 10 months ago.
He's out the WhatsApp group. Okay, Barry.
It's hard going last, isn't it? I feel sorry for Darren because it's usually Darren who's down here, who's usually last. Darren or Ian. I think the Seas have thrown us saying that Shaw's not going to play. I think Shaw will be back, but supporting goal, Trips, Shaw, Botman, Big Dan Byrne. Midfield, I agree with Kev. I don't think Tonali will start, but in my mind, for some reason, I had Bruno, Big Joe, and Longstaff. Up front, Isaac. Harvey Barnes, and then that was the stickler for me. It's which way do you go between Gordon and Miggy? And personally, I agree. I think it was Ian said that Miggy's scoring goals, so I think Miggy would get the nod. But
Am I the only one that's gone Callum Wilson?
Yeah.
He didn't look good today, like Callum Wilson. Like
you went for Andy Carroll as well. You.
He's saving it.
He's went for Andy Carroll.
The anti-Carroll, that's what I said, not Andy Carroll.
All right, Barry, you got your team in last, but I'm going to let you go with a prediction first. Newcastle take on Aston Villa in the first home game, August the 12th, live on Sky Sports, 5:30 kickoff. A little bit early for team news at the start of the week, so we will reserve that for shows later in the week. I would get there early if you've got any concerns about getting into the ground with your tickets. Obviously, they're rolling out the digital season tickets now, and if you haven't got a smartphone, then you do know that you've got to go up to the box office and sort out other arrangements. So don't get stuck in a queue. Make sure you're well prepared so that you don't miss anything at the match next week. But a big game next week. Aston Villa certainly caught us out a little bit in the latter stages of last season, Barry. But Newcastle, first home game, will want to get off to a flyer. How do you see it going, Barry?
I think it's going to be very close. I'm going 2-1 for Newcastle. I think Isaac will score, and I think Harvey Barnes will score. But I do think it's going to be very close because they look a decent side.
Okay, Spenny, how do you see next weekend's game going?
I think it'll go 1-0 Newcastle. It'll be a close game. Can't see them scoring. We'll just get a penalty.
Okay, Kev.
It depends how we start. If we match them early, I think we'll overrun them, and I'll go with a penman. I'll get it in early so far this season. 3-1.
Hey, 3-1. Okay, Donald, prediction for the weekend against Villa.
Yeah, I'd say we've got to start quickly. We must not let them get into us like what happened at the away game there. So I'm going to go 2-0 Newcastle.
2-0 Newcastle. Okay, Darren.
2-1. Botman first goal scorer.
Botman. That would make you some
Still
money.
one. I've been seeing him on 30-year game last year.
Never change it. Never change it.
You never know.
It could happen at some point.
Every corner we have, I always shout Botman, and I'll laugh at us in front of us.
Yeah.
Ian,
don't shout Botman this time. Then you never know.
You never know. Go on, Ian.
Penman as well. I'm going 3-1. I think we're a better team than them. I really do. I am a little bit worried about Diaby because I think he has looked, from the little bits I've seen for them, he's looked pretty good in the pre-season. But yeah, I think 3-1. Isak with a brace, and I'll say Miggy with one as well.
Okay, Lee.
I'm going to go 1-1. Purely because I think Villa are one of them teams that they've not got sussed, but they are on our level. And I think first game of the season, I just think it's going to be tight, 1-1.
1-1. Okay. I'll give my prediction on the Amigos later in the week. Lads, it has been a pleasure. Thanks to Lee, thanks to Ian, thanks to Darren, Barry, Spenny, Kevin, and Dunno. That's been the Fans Forum. We'll be back again next Monday. Take care, lads. Good night.
Good night, lads.
Right.
Good night, lads.
We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.